morning. We'll go ahead and call the regular session of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors, also sitting as all special taxing districts, July 7, 2025, 9 a.m. Board members will attend either in person, by telephone, or remotely via electronic. We're all here. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Supervisor Lyons, will you please lead us?
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we move on to the call to the public, I'd just like to recognize that we have Craig Sullivan, CSA Director. Welcome. We also have Jacob Hamnet from CSA and James Minot. Welcome.
County Manager.
County Manager. And we'll go ahead and move on to call to the public. And I do have a speaker form. Well, it's for a agenda item, so I'll call you when we get to that agenda item. But anybody from the public that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to presentations, proclamations, and appointments. During this segment of the agenda, board members may discuss the presentations and proclamations and may announce appointments to the Yuma County Planning and Zoning Commission and the Yuma County Board of Adjustments. No legal action will be taken. We have item number 1, proclaiming the week of July 2026, 20 to the 26th of 2025 to be pretrial probation, parole, and supervision week in Yuma County. Mr. Supervisor Simmons, can you please read it?
Alrighty, proclaiming the week of July 20th through the 26th, 2025 to be pretrial probation, parole, and supervision week in Yuma County. Whereas community corrections is an essential part of the justice system, and whereas community corrections professionals uphold the law with dignity while recognizing the right of the public to be safeguarded from criminal activity, and whereas community corrections professionals are responsible for supervising adult and juvenile offenders in the community, and whereas community corrections professionals are trained professionals who provide services and referrals for offenders, and whereas community corrections professionals work in partnership with community agencies and groups and promote prevention, intervention, and advocacy, and whereas community corrections professionals provide services, support, and protection for victims and advocate community and restoration justice, and whereas community corrections professionals are a true force for positive change in their communities. Now, therefore, the week of July 20th, 26th, 2025 is hereby proclaimed to be pretrial probation, parole, and supervision week in Yuma County.
Did you have a read it because it's in probation or is it?
Former law enforcement.
Former law enforcement.
Can't talk this morning. It's early.
You're in probation. I said, you have probation.
And do we have someone from, if we do, coming up?
Chairman Porches, members of the board, Mike Bird, Yuma County Adult Probation Chief, along with Ignacio Galindo, Deputy Director from the Juvenile Court. Thank you guys so much for the recognition of probation, pretrial, and parole supervision week. It's important for us to recognize the hard work that our staff do, that we rely on every single day to help keep our community safe and to help give opportunity to folks who found themselves in the criminal justice system for an opportunistic way to get out of the criminal justice system and lead productive lives. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Any questions for me at all?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you
And
for
who's your
all
partner?
the work.
Excellent. Thank you guys.
We have your,
Hold on, come on up here, guys.
yeah,
Yeah. Make sure Nacho gets in here.
Two people can be close.
Sure, we can.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Go ahead and move on to item number 2, presentation highlighting Yuma County's 2026 Leadership Empowerment and Development U-Lead program.
Good morning, Chairman Porches and members of the board. Nayeli Flores, Human Resources Training Supervisor here, excited to present to you today the second year of U-Lead, Yuma County Leadership Empowerment and Development Program. 3 months ago, I presented to you U-Lead Cohort 2025 graduates. We had 14 participants and 6 mentors. They were recognized in front of the board on April 7th. U-Lead supports countywide succession planning by empowering a cohort of employees to acquire and develop the ability, motivation, and commitment to assume positions of leadership within Yuma County. U-Lead is open to all county and court employees who have a desire to become a leader. U-Lead is facilitated by internal services that will not require any additional funds from any county departments or offices. The U-Lead program supports Yuma County's goals, priorities, and values in its support of continuing to be an employer of choice. U-Lead's priorities are aligned with county values and prioritize to cultivate a strong community. U-Lead provides proper leadership training and development that are essential to the county's ability to accomplish the Board of Supervisors' priorities, including the strategic plan and Yuma County's continuing to be an employer of choice within the Yuma community. U-Lead enables us to retain a qualified workforce. No other agency within our community offers a training program or curriculum like ours. U-Lead is a 9-month commitment that consists of informal in-house training, small group mentoring sessions, and program roundtable discussions. There are a total of 21 core training classes that equals to 73 total training hours that will help build operational excellence and a foundation for success. Participants will meet with their mentors at least once a month. The group will meet once a month as a group for robust discussions on various leadership topics. Human Resources will work collaboratively with executive level mentors that will be dedicating their time and expertise to ensure the program's success. We are very grateful to the mentors for dedicating themselves to this year's U-Lead program. Human Resources Training Division will manage the program and facilitate required trainings. We will ensure that mentor roles are fulfilled and ensure overall program participation and successful completion. We do have 7 mentors this year. We would like to thank our returning mentors, Robin Stallworth-Poquet, Enterprise Risk Management Director, Captain Ana Duarte, Sheriff's Department, Jessica Rodriguez, Chief Human Resources Officer. I would like to introduce to you our new mentors for this year. We have Humberto del Castillo, Chief Financial Officer, Tiffany Anderson, Facilities Management Director, Ashley Jones, Library District Director, Reina Curiel, Welton Justice Court Operations Manager. We received 23 applications and were able to accommodate 16 participants. I would like to introduce to you this year's U-Lead Cohort 2026 participants. We have Alba Marron, Lead Legal Secretary with the Public Defender's Office, Anthony Brookins, Lead Highway Maintenance Worker, Public Works, Andrea Calandrino, Substance Abuse Counselor, Adult Probation, Blanca Victoria, Legal Office Supervisor, County Attorney's Office, Brenda Butler, Branch Librarian for the Library District, Craig Sargent, Highway Maintenance Supervisor with Public Works, Crystal Dawn, Appraiser 2 for the Assessor's Office, Yesenia McCormick, Risk Management Specialist with County Administration, We have Nora Cortazar, Senior Eligibility Worker for the Housing Department. Joanne Munoz, Voter Registration Coordinator with the Recorder's Office. Irma Perez Vizcarra, Senior Assessor Specialist, Assessor's Office. Julieta Geist, Human Resources Specialist, Human Resources. We have Cecilia Felix, Lead Legal Secretary with the Legal Defender's Office. Maritza Retiz, Budget Analyst with Office of Management and Budget for County Administration. Maria Claudia Herrera, Chief Criminal Clerk for the Justice Court, 3rd Precinct. And Daniel Perez, Detention Sergeant for the Sheriff's Office. Although it was not required, we do have some of our mentors and some of our participants here, and I will ask for them to please stand and recognize and thank them.
Stand up, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you so much. For our next steps, we will be meeting with our mentors and having a kickoff on July 11th. The program kickoff with mentors and participants is scheduled for July 14th. Our program will conclude March of 2026 with final presentations, and then graduation and presentation in front of the board to celebrate their achievements is scheduled for April 2026. I would like to thank Chairman Porches and members of the board for your support, and we look forward to another successful year. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
How many times a week you guys meet?
How many times a week? So we'll be meeting the mentors. It's kind of up to them, but at least we're asking them to meet once a month with their mentees. And then we'll have once a month roundtable discussions with the whole group.
Well, I really appreciate, this is the 2nd year,
Yes.
and I think it goes in line with what we have been talking about with all about the staff and the county contributing and leading. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
It's an amazing program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you to the mentors who are willing to give up time to.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It's under contract. Moving on to item number 3, and we have the County Supervisors Association presentation by Executive Director Craig Sullivan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Craig.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the board. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you. I'm Craig Sullivan with the County Supervisors Association, and as the chairman mentioned, we've got some of our team here, Jacob Emnett, our Government Relations Director, and James Menlove, the Gila County Manager, who serves as our chairman of our managers group. And so we wanted to be here today just to be available to you and report out what we do as an organization. You all know it quite well as you're involved quite a bit, but it's important for me to stand before you and to report out on how we're serving you and your county. And I want to begin just by thanking all of you for your involvement in our association. I deeply appreciate the partnership that you have with the other counties in working together. And Supervisor Pancrazzi, I have to acknowledge your leadership over the last year as president of our association. Thank you. My team and I have really enjoyed working with you in that capacity. I know your colleagues have as well. It's been a lot of fun.
You haven't gotten the bill yet, right?
What's that?
You haven't gotten the invoice yet.
We have traveled from St. John's to Prescott together, and we're going to be going down south here shortly as we get around the state. And Supervisor Lyons, I want to thank you for joining us on our LPC call. I think you two as a tandem have been phenomenal at helping us strengthen our relationships with lawmakers. So thank you for that. I know it's extra duty for you both. Now, we've got for you a couple of things. We gave you a portfolio of some of our work that's just some visualizations that you can go through to see some of the work that we do on behalf of Yuma County. And we also provided with you a report that's fairly detailed and long and will serve as my presentation, but I won't go through everything. I just want to hit some of the highlights and then, of course, answer any detail that you would like. But I got to tell you, though, as we begin, a lot of the work that we do is really about being an extension of your staff. And I want to commend your county manager, Mr. McGahee, and Alejandro, who works with us regularly. They really help us serve you. And so thank you, Ian, for the partnership we have with your county. We can't do what we do without good information from all of you. So as I go through this, what I'll hit on are a couple of things. I'm going to talk about our analytics function and why that's important, talk about some of our capacity development, and then we'll talk about the legislature just a little bit at the end as well. But first, for folks who may not be familiar with who we are, the County Supervisors Association is a collaboration of the 15 counties. So we're a centralized office. We're a nonpartisan research and policy development shop. And we serve as an intergovernmental relations function with state lawmakers. And that's important, as you know, because our constitutional structure has you as counties working locally as partners with the state. And so what we try to do is improve that collaboration going back and forth. That's really what we're trying to do. And we are supervisor driven. So all of you serve on our board of directors. You all have a voice at our table. And of course, we have a key leadership team as well as our legislative policy committee just to make sure that we're doing all of our business. When we talk about capacity development and information sharing, these are just some of the highlights. It's how we're using our organization as a forum to bring in policymakers, agency heads, technical experts to dialogue with all of you and as county supervisors, and we do that monthly. We also serve as a conduit for various work groups on your behalf. So our county association served on the governor's Water Policy Council. We're on the PSPRS Advisory Committee, Department of Insurance, Resiliency and Mitigation Council, and other things. So we very efficiently plug into these state agency work groups and other things on your behalf, and we really enjoy doing it. I enjoy quite a bit the work we have with the county managers and with the policy staff, because as I mentioned, that's really how we create a strong connection with all of the county professional staff. I want to highlight on a few slides our data analytics function. This is a really important foundational piece to what we do, because good information is critical to good decisions. And so a lot of what we're doing is just building out mountains of data that we can use for policy analysis. Our database right now is close to 8 million data points. We build it every year. What are we doing? We're importing publicly available data, county budget information, readily available state agency information. These are all things that are in silos, but by pulling them together, we can start doing analysis with them. We're also working on various research projects, some that we do in-house and some that we work with the university partners to secure as well. We got about $1.4 million worth of grant money to work with universities on county-related issues. And so this is really how we're trying to feed information into how we support decision-making at the county level, state level, and federal level. And our data and analytics function covers various things like how county government works. We do research reports to that, and I apologize that the bullets are not coming through on here on some of the examples. We highlight the impact of state policies on county operations and finance. Yes, sir.
Chairman, can we turn down the half lights? Thank
That
you.
may be a font choice that we made that's not working on this screen. So I do apologize for that. That's a technical
Our new
error on my
building,
part.
next year we'll be in our new building and you'll have a better.
Which, by the way, is looking awesome. I don't know when that's going to be ready, but that's really incredible.
Looks like my brain right there.
But some of these examples that we're talking about is where we looked into specific policies that were changed as it related to indigent defense. And we looked at the cost drivers that occurred throughout. We look at items related to the court system. It's really deep dive types of items that we're looking at. We've highlighted some of what's happening in the public workforce space. There's a lot of movement, a lot of questions about how employees are moving, and so we've broken some of that down into various analytics that help us understand things better. And we're looking at how counties manage mandated functions. And again, my apologies that these bullets did not work out very well. Now, one challenge we're having with this is how we get all this information out to you. And so we are building out our web platform. We are going to redesign it over the course of the summer so that when you all are working with us in the fall, more of this information is available to you. It's available to your professional staff, and you can do your own data mining But I think it's going to be pretty fun when we get to it. All right, talk a little bit about the legislative session. You know, and again, I want to compliment your team for the work they do with us, and I want to add to that Alexis Sussdorf, who works as your consultant on intergovernmental affairs. We feel that we have a very close relationship working with all of you, and it's really, really critical. Session went long, June 27th, which is not typical, but has been more and more common of late. What I'll touch for in some of these subsequent slides are just some key highlights. The budget, it's always a big issue for us. The key takeaway I want you to be aware of is this. The legislature has been focusing on one-time allocations, right? They've not been looking at ongoing problem solving. And so that affects some of the items that we're working on and that we'll talk about in a moment. But you can see on the left how the legislature allocated its one-time resources, major state agencies, major policy functions. These are just some select investments that were in the budget. A couple of county touch points that I want to talk to you about. I mentioned the ongoing, the fact that the legislature is not dealing with ongoing issues. And that affects things like ongoing funding for probation. So we've been asking, along with the courts, for the state to fund its probation liabilities on a commitment and to increase resources. Again, they funded it one time going into the next fiscal year, so $10 million. There needs to be more in that fund. It means there's a cliff in the subsequent fiscal year. And we've been bouncing along with this for several years now, and it's important that the state meet this commitment on an ongoing basis. Juvenile dependency, we've reconfigured that fund so your county will start receiving monies related to that. It'll be a couple $100,000 each year. Jacob worked on that a lot. We found that the JP salary reimbursement fund was undercapitalized, and so we worked to just put some money into that. Altex, which is the long-term care system. People don't realize that a lot of your property tax collections go right back to the state to fund the long-term care system. And so when they make policy choices, that can really put upward pressure on your property taxes. Relatively small increase there this year, 10 million. We've seen bigger increases, but I'd highlight for you, we see consistent pressure on this function going up over time. So it's becoming a very large expenditure. And finally, in the upper right, I wanted to highlight a policy change related to the correction officer's retirement plan, defined contribution. It made a small increase to the employer share of that, going from 5% to 5.5%. They did fund an offset to the counties to the tune of $1 million. A portion of that is for the counties, and that's a good thing. But in our view, this isn't really how you deal with policy in this space, and we're not confident that they'll maintain that commitment going forward. A few other county relevant items I'll highlight too. Additional border enforcement money that'll be available for the sheriffs of $5 million. And in the upper right, the state did make good on its commitment to fund the CD7 special election. And the rest of the items are just items we've gotten in the budget over time. All right, so I mentioned all the one-time allocations, and this highlights how they allocated across various counties, and obviously Yuma's in the lower right here. And you can see some of the specific one-time appropriations that were made. I do want to highlight the waste tire cleanup piece. This has been an issue that your county's talked about for some time. Great result to get the state to help to eliminate that backfill. We've had a lot of policy conversations with your team on that issue. These are a few bills that we worked on, restating the waste tire fee fund, licensed secure health facilities. This is that issue where mentally ill folks are not having a place. There's a gap in the system, if you will, for secure regional behavioral health facilities. That comes up on the criminal side as well as the civil side. There was some money put in the budget this year to try to build these facilities, or a facility, and some agency work groups to look at how to do this over time. So we're hopeful there'll be some greater attention to that issue going forward.
If Senator Angus has anything to say about it.
Absolutely, absolutely, Supervisor. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's been a great leader. I think, as all you know, Supervisor used to be Supervisor Angus. Now she's at the legislature, and she gets it. This slide and the next one just kind of highlight what we call reactive advocacy, and a big part of what our team does is just responding to the hundreds of bills that touch county operations. And this, again, is where we're grateful for the collaboration with your team. Big issue this year among many of these was related to the solar app process that they tried to put in place, and I know that was a big concern here.
Oh, yeah.
Well done communicating to lawmakers and stopping that at the end of the day. So that's where that local communication matters so much. These are all bills that passed, and I won't talk about all of these, but we do have a report coming out that will summarize all the bills, or there's about 100 more than are listed here, that touch county operations. So those are coming your way, but a couple of things that I know are particularly worth noting. Accessory dwelling units. So as you know, a year ago, there were policy changes for accessory dwelling units in cities. This year, they brought in the county statutes to that. And I know that's created a little bit of a pain point across many unincorporated areas. We did amend it quite a bit working with Mr. Carbone, the majority leader, and we were grateful that he was willing to do that. But there was a lot of momentum behind bringing that forward. There is some language in that bill related to public health and safety and drainage and things like that. So it is worth our planning and zoning folks looking at that and seeing whether there are changes to ordinances that can help with that issue going forward. And in the lower right, I wanted to point out, you're probably aware of the issue that happened in Santa Cruz County about a treasurer embezzling some money. So they have put more resources and more statute around the Auditor General doing inquiries into the treasurer's office. And so no, that's coming, and there'll be a need for process improvements and maybe some investments to strengthen that as well. We supported that measure going forward. A couple of last slides for you. Since Mr. Lyons, you and Ms. Pancrase spent so much time with us on legislative policy stuff, I wanted you to know it matters. I mean, we put a lot of issues through the pipeline, and without your feedback, we wouldn't have direction on how to deal with it. The results were very good. The team was very active at getting in front of committees and meeting with lawmakers. That all matters because that's where we're forging that partnership with lawmakers. And you all do a great job of that, and we really commend you on it. It's our pleasure to support you. Final slide. All right, so the reward for ending one legislative session is you have to do it all over again. And so we're getting organized now to get ready for the next one. And I'm so thrilled that we are bringing your colleagues down here in October for our policy summit, which is where we will set our legislative agenda. And so this is our third time in the last many years coming around. Thank you for hosting us. We hope we're good hosts. We think it'll be a lot of fun. If you want to submit policy items for consideration, please do so by August 4th. And then subsequent to that, we'll meet with the managers and go through all of that. But then we'll hit it again in the fall, and we'll get rolling. So with that, Mr. Chairman and members, that's what I wanted to report. Thanks for all the time. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Craig, I don't have any questions. Jacob, stand up just for a second. I want to thank Jacob for working with our planning and zoning with that auxiliary bill, that auxiliary dwelling bill. He worked with them along with Alexis and Carbone, and they really worked together to get a lot of changes that will really help impact. I can't speak for metropolitan areas, but for rural Arizona and the county areas in our rural Arizona, those changes that he helped Carbone understand and put in his bill really made a difference. And thank you so much for all your work, Jacob. I don't know if you know, but he lives at the legislature during the session, and he can tell you every single bill that has to do with counties or that is going to impact counties. And the ones he can't, that he doesn't always try to eliminate them. He tries to make them so that they're better and that the legislator who's running them understands the needs of the counties that for all over and gets changes made to make them so that they work for us instead of just trying to kill them. So thank you, Jacob. Sorry,
It was
just
much
does so
deserved.
much work. Craig, I know yes, I know you do. I'm flying back from a convention and he's drafting a letter that is going to be from me. And he gives it to me, he goes, okay, what does this sound like? And I go, so I'm sitting on an airplane working with Craig. Craig never stops working. So, and I made all those changes to make it, a little better, or I think a little better for me.
Your
anyway.
voice. Your voice.
So,
Yeah.
but he's quite the taskmaster, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, and he's learned. He gets me up. He has me come a half an hour earlier than what everybody else gets up, so that I'm on time.
That means it probably would be an hour earlier.
So it should be.
Thank you
Craig.
very much, Craig, and all your staff for what you do. You definitely make it a lot easier for us on having you there at the state capitol and having all your staff and looking at things with the legislators. That's really nice. Thank you.
It's our pleasure, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With that, thank you all very much, and I do apologize, we're going to have to scoot up to Parker, but I did wonder, Mr. Chairman, if we can get a quick photo before we go.
Definitely.
Yeah. Come on, Jacob.
Lights. Yeah. Camera action. I need it. You stand.
Stand in the center.
Since you're the
Come on.
president, that's right there.
Okay.
Come on.
Usually on this side over here. Oh, thank you.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Thank
See ya.
You guys.
Yeah.
We love her, but.
Later.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
The work you do with us.
So efficient. Good. He does get me up. Yeah. He tells me 7 o'clock. That's what he did in Prescott.
We'll move on to item number 4, presentation of the mix with Yuma County and El Condado Informado by Yuma 77, the Yuma County Government Channel.
Welcome to The Mix. Yuma County, the City of Yuma, and the Arizona Division of Occupational Safety and Health, or ADOSH, joined forces for the 2025 Safety Summit, a full day dedicated to the workplace safety and community engagement. The free event held at the Yuma Civic Center brought together safety professionals, local businesses, and community members for a series of expert-led sessions, hands-on training, and access to valuable safety resources. The summit aimed to promote collaboration and provide real-world tools to help reduce workplace hazard and improve overall safety practices.
The overall goal of having an event like this is to bring safety to the community, to have a safety mindset, not just think about safety every other day. It's about bringing it to the forefront.
The strong turnout and community involvement made the event a major success. Yuma County has begun installing student-designed bike racks at Foothills Community Park. The custom fabricated racks were created by Hilo Ridge High School's agriculture program as part of an ongoing collaboration with the county's Facilities Management Department.
As Facilities Management and the Yuma County Parks and Recreation Commission are looking forward to a continued collaboration with our students, whether it be through the high schools or even Arizona Western College, to have that mutual benefit, bring new amenities to the community, but also give them an opportunity to hone their skills.
Aimed at promoting a more bike-friendly community, county officials say the project not only supports sustainability and active transportation, but also highlights the value of hands-on education and local engagement. As temperatures rise and summer activities ramp up, the Yuma County Sheriff's Office is partnering with local, state, and federal agencies to increase patrols on area waterways. The main goal is to ensure a safe boating season by cracking down on reckless behavior and promoting responsible operation. Deputies will be enforcing speed limits, monitoring for impaired operators, and checking for proper safety equipment.
The enforcement is definitely there. Not just us, you have Arizona Game and Fish, the Federal Fish and Wildlife guys are here, as well as Imperial County Sheriff's Office. And you will see us all here at the substation, kind of coming up with a game plan. Hey, where the heavy enforcement area is going to be, stuff like that. So we work very well with all our agencies out here.
Authorities are reminding boaters to stay hydrated, wear life vests, and never operate a vessel under the influence of alcohol. With the Congressional District 7 special primary election just around the corner, we want to remind you that early in-person voting ends on Friday, July 11th at 7 p.m. Early voting is taking place at the Yuma County Recorder's Office, located in historic downtown Yuma. Election officials urge voters to take advantage of early voting to avoid lines and ensure their ballots are counted ahead of the July 15th election. Independent voters are encouraged to participate. Independent voters can vote in a primary election. All you have to do is pick a Republican or Democratic ballot. This will not alter your party affiliation. You do not have to wait until the general election to make your voice count. For more information, contact voter registration at 928-373-6034 or go to my.arizona.vote. Thanks for tuning in. The residents can catch the latest episode of The Mix by visiting yumacountyaz.gov and navigating to the VOD section, or by heading to the Yuma County's official YouTube channel. English episodes are available under the Mix playlist, while Spanish-speaking viewers can find the Spanish version under El Condado Informado playlist. Both platforms offer access to current and past episodes. ¿Prefiere ver The Mix en español? No se lo pierda. La versión en español del programa está disponible bajo la lista de reproducción El Condado Informado en el canal oficial de YouTube del Condado de Yuma. Gracias por acompañarnos. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, much more professional.
I agree.
Moving on to consent calendar. The following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless board members so request. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I'd like to have a little discussion on item 7, with some more explanation. That would be it. If nobody has any other ones that they want to pull out, I'll make a motion that we approve items 1 through 13, with the exception of item number 7. Second time.
There's a motion and a second to approve items 1 through 13 with exception number 7. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, emergency management.
Who's here from emergency? Is there anybody here from, okay, so.
Tony's here.
Tony's
Big
hiding.
T. The item says accept the bid by J. Fuller for $75,500 to complete the Yuma County Multi-Jurisdiction Hazard Mitigation Plan update. And authorize the emergency management director, and in this case Tony, or their designee to sign the contract. Now, what I'd like to know is what are they talking about?
That is our multi-jurisdiction hazard mitigation plan that's to be renewed every 5 years. We're on the 6th year of that. We're working with all the other agencies within Yuma County, San Luis, Somerton, Town of Welton, the Cocopah Indian Tribe. That's where we identify the natural hazards in our community, and we try to mitigate those and identify projects such as adding culverts or doing certain types of mitigation projects out there. So we identify them. That allows us to apply for federal grants to try to lessen those burdens on the communities.
You'll be looking at natural disasters like floods.
Yeah, the last one is on our website, identified power outages due to the high heat, earthquakes, high winds, flooding, those type of things.
So what he would do is he would give us a plan to follow in case one of these emergencies happens.
Correct. That plan has been, this one is going to be updated. We've had them every so many years. We've had, I think, a 2007, I think it was, and then 2010, and then we had a 2018, and then I think now we'll hopefully get it done in 2025 or 26.
How important is it in the process? How important it is to have cities stop considering their retention bases as community parks? I mean, it's a comment that I'll make if need be, because I think that the purpose of retention bases is being sort of put aside with the need for community parks, especially in smaller cities like San Luis or Somerton. I don't know what Yuma is doing, but we have a very large retention basin that
Correct.
I think we need to understand that with changes in climate, whether some people like to think of it or not, it's a heat. It may be that we get bigger rains, which will require those retention basins to be fully operational as opposed to community parks, which is seeding them and putting in improvements on it. Just want to make a comment that I think that emergency may come up on us, sneak up on us, and not look at it as an emergency. But to me, that's important, and it's something that I like to make a point of. So I wanted to get a better sense of what this was about, and it is about natural disasters. Power outages are kind of happen naturally because of the heat, but they're not really natural disasters. They're more disasters that we create as demand peaks up. That's more like a utility type situation. But thank you for allowing us to at least have a discussion on this, because I think that natural disasters are going to have a lot more to play in the future than they do now.
Right. And that's what's important about having all the communities involved, because they know their own, the town of San Luis knows some of their issues, Somerton, Welton, so they are all part of this, and we'll identify projects they have to do or projects they want to try to get federal funding for. A good example right now, I know that the city of Yuma is waiting for this plan to get adopted so they can update the Hacienda Estates, replacing some of those pumps, things like that. So as soon as this plan's available, then they can start drawing on some of those funds. I do know that Somerton did a lot of culverts after that. I know we keep identifying out in the East County, maybe an overpass and to cross over from the golf course over into the town of Welton, which currently is hindered by the railroad tracks.
So this is like a coordination effort. It's
Correct.
Just someone that will bunch up all together a set of meetings and make sure that every stakeholder attends.
Yes, sir.
Like you were saying too, federal funding's tied to it a lot. If you don't have this, they won't even look at you.
Correct.
As far as funding.
This is the gateway to that federal funding.
Right. If nothing else, I'll make a motion that we approve item number 7 as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Motion and a second to approve item number 7 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank you,
opposed?
Tony.
Motion carries. Thank you.
I did not know you had so many people in here, or whatever.
All right, go back to work.
I have to walk out
Yeah.
carefully.
Now they can, we're all done here.
Great to see everybody.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody.
Bye,
Good to
guys.
see you. We'll give you 5 minutes to leave. It's clearing up the room pretty fast.
Well, I'll go ahead and recess the Yuma County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Yuma County Housing Board. Move on to Housing Governing Board Consent Calendar. The following items listed items under the consent agenda will be considered as a group, acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless the board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. And we have item number 1, award the bid to Western General Contracting LLC in the amount of $257,370 for the repair, modify handicap units at the Valley Vista Apartments located at 2050 West Main Street Suite number 88, Somerton, Arizona, 85350, Montezuma Apartments located at 345 East, Juan Sanchez Boulevard, San Luis, Arizona, 85336, and Pecan Shadows Apartments located at 2650 and 2651 West 3rd Street, Yuma, Arizona, 85364 for 2024 capital fund projects.
This is a consent item, so if we pull it, we have to discuss it. So I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve it as listed.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to approve item number 1 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll go ahead and adjourn the Yuma County Housing Board and reconvene back to the Yuma County Board of Supervisors in regular session. Moving on to discussion and action items. Item number 1, Public Works, presentation and discussion on current waste tire operations with the Department of Public Works. Kelly and Santos.
Oh my gosh.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm Kelly Fricke, Public Works Director, and with me today is our Deputy Director, Santos. And we're here to provide you with an update on our progress on disposing of waste tires. We'll highlight recent improvements we've made and present potential options for purchasing a tire shredder or chipper, which could enable us to process more tires on site and potentially save money in disposal costs. So our team took this image at the North Gila Waste Tire Facility in August of 2024. All these tires come from a variety of sources, including local new and used tire vendors, individuals, county right-of-ways, municipalities, waste or water districts, and local farms. Also from scheduled cleanups and from illegal dumping. How do I get to? Sorry about that. This slide illustrates our quarterly progress in reducing the number of tires stored at our facility over the past year. And staff took this photo in the top left on September 30th of 24. Compared to the slide on image 1 from August of 24, you'll notice a significant reduction. So as you move through the photos from the second to the fourth quarter, the continued progress is pretty evident.
Our clicker needs a new battery, huh? There we go.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can see a huge difference.
A major factor behind the success of the county board was from the Board of Supervisors approving an additional $200,000 in the tire disposal budget for fiscal year 24-25. This one-time funding increase allowed us to maintain hauling operations at an accelerated pace, leading to a direct and measurable reduction in tire volume on site. This graph illustrates the annual flow of tires in 2 categories, incoming tires shown in blue and outgoing tires in green. And as we review the data from fiscal year ending 21 through fiscal year ending 25, key trends emerge. Incoming tire volumes have increased each year, reflecting continued and growing demand for disposal services. Outgoing tire volumes have increased with the exception of fiscal year ending 22. Historically, once disposal budget was nearly exhausted, which often happened by March or April, hauling operations would stop for the remainder of the fiscal year. This limitation hindered our ability to keep pace with incoming tires. However, in fiscal year ending 24, we made a strategic shift, and with nearly $50,000 added to the hauling budget and an additional $89,000 used from contingency funds, we were able to continue hauling operations through the end of the year. Although this improved the flow, it still was not enough to make a meaningful impact. The additional $200,000 approved for fiscal year 24-25, as mentioned on the previous slide, greatly improved our ability to move those tires out of the facility last year. So this slide lists the operational changes implemented based on recommendations made by the CSA, County Supervisors Association. We now require scale tickets from all vendors bringing more than 50 tires. The requirement of new tire vendors to submit copies of their state reporting documents on each quarter. We compare the scale tickets to manifests and state documents and verify accuracy. And we're charging tipping fees to new tire vendors who exceed the number of tires that were reported to the state. After ADEQ increased their tipping fees, we increased ours. And we're now tracking and charging residents who exceed their 5 free allowed tires. And we're charging higher tipping fees for tires generated out of state, which stratifies tipping fees between in and out of state residents. So with the recent tipping fee increase and the anticipated rise in the waste tire funds due to ADEQ's fee adjustment, we expect our revenue to nearly double, and we'll continue to monitor the revenue trends as the new year progresses. So I'd like to now turn it over to Santos, our Deputy Director, to talk about the possibility of purchasing a chipper and or shredder to help our process.
Kelly, I have one question. Mr. Chairman Kelly, I have one question. Military and Border Patrol, we take their tires as well, don't we?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't include those, but that's quite a bit, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Fortress, members of the board. So yes, as Kelly spoke, we have implemented some changes that we hope really help us out with this waste tire process. But at the recommendation of some of the board members, we started looking into the possibility of possibly purchasing or looking into the possibility of purchasing some tire shredders. So there's many options out there. You know, some range up to the $1 million, and some smaller, a couple $100,000. So this is one of the options. This is a primary shredder from BCA that has the capability of shredding up to 400 tires an hour. This piece of equipment is about $200,000. Some of the pros of shredding tires is that the local landfill will accept shreds at half the cost of what CRM charges to dispose of them. So we could dispose of shreds at $41 a ton. Although it's not, I mean, it's considered ground cover, so they just, the tires just go out in the landfill and they just lay there. Okay, they cover the landfill out there, but they're not really being recycled. Okay. It's a mobile mounted unit, trailer mounted unit. It's diesel powered. Of course, some of the cons is you don't get no revenue from the shreds. We just dispose of the tires. It's a manually fed trailer, so there is quite a bit of labor involved with it. But in order to get maybe revenue from some of the tire shreds, because you can shred or chip tires to a certain size and you can get some revenue from them. But this is a primary unit that only shreds. But we would see a savings at about $6.52 per ton. That's including hauling and everything. Some of our current operations up there, Kelly covered, but they're off to the side there. We receive an annual average of 216,000 tires a year. We have about 450 tires on site right now. It's a huge, you saw the pictures. Approximately revenue that we would need to dispose of everything is about 750,000 or so, which is where that money that we're going to get from the state is going to come into effect, that we could hopefully clean that whole site out. Of course, our annual budget right now is 470, and as Kelly mentioned, you guys did give us 200,000 this past year to help us with that. So that's the shredder. So this is a secondary unit that pairs with that primary unit. And what this does is it takes the shreds and further chips them down to a smaller size where you can actually get some money from some of these shreds. It's not a lot, but this unit is $244,000. It is slower because it only chips 200 tires an hour because it's got to downsize those shreds till it gets to a certain point. So it pairs with the primary shredder. You can see a possible revenue of $20 to $25 a ton for the tire chips. Of course, that all depends on finding a buyer or getting a contract with somebody to purchase those chips. It's also a diesel power operated, and it's also a trailer mounted unit that you can pull around. Of course, some of the cons is finding a buyer of the chips. A lot of people that buy those chips already are locked into contracts, and so I think that's going to be one of the major challenges is finding a buyer if we do proceed this way. And it could the secondary unit, a combination of both units could probably require additional staff, maybe 1 or 2 more employees. But this is like Kelly mentioned, we're going to monitor our new operation, our new changes that we've done. And I think, with the money we're getting from the state, I think we could possibly see some real benefits out there. But so this is some of the options that we've had. There are other options like out there, some big industrial tire chippers. I think it's overkill for what we have, but they're really expensive. They can get up, like I said, $850,000 to $1 million.
Mr. Chair? Mark, okay.
Well, how difficult it is to conceive that we could use those chips, the ones that are small enough, that we could sell. That we could use them to provide some cover, ground cover to some of these areas.
Chip seal.
Yeah. Well, not the chip seal. Chip seal is pretty delicate, pretty simple.
Yeah, so
not
the
chip seal.
smallest you can get it down with these pieces of equipment is about 2 to 3 inch size of a tire chip. So once it gets to that size, then buyers, they buy that stuff and then reduce that to size. I mean, they ground it down to granules, almost powder-like. And it's added to oils and stuff like that, playground equipment, different AstroTurf, it's real big right now. So it would take further processing.
That's what, I guess that should have been the question. Is it going to take further processing
Further
to be able to
processing,
use it in the roads and ground cover?
Yes.
Because we do have a problem with PM10. We've had a problem with PM10. And I eventually saw that process of getting to the point where it could be used in some of the areas that require ground cover. That we keep scraping them and we keep doing a lot of stuff because obviously that's the only choices we have. We don't do necessarily ground cover with it. So it'll take another process further down the road to make it even smaller so that it can actually be used as ground cover for.
And there are opportunities out there. I've heard of not a local, but a contractor that we worked with in the past that I think they did a big project with the city of Tucson, where they took all their tires, they ground it up, and then they processed it and put it in the emulsions, and then they put them back out on the roads. But it's a labor-intensive process, and it goes into the oil for the chip seal, yeah, a TR, they call it tire rubber.
Well, I think we're moving in the right direction. We are not totally there yet, but we may require a little more investment to get it to the level where we can use it for our own needs as opposed to selling it. I think selling it, if you make $32,000 annually, $31,000.
So that's possible revenue.
Processing it that much to get to that level, because the return on investment, I don't see it as much. I see that return on investment as being able to do some PM10 coverage, some coverage in some county roads that are remote county roads that essentially don't need to be maintained every year, 3-4 months.
Are there any other counties that are doing this as far as they have their own shredder and stuff?
No, only the ones that are actually contracted with CRM, Maricopa County, the big counties of Pima County. They're actually contracted with CRM, and I think they do see some of that stuff come back to their roads, but no, nobody else is shredded. And these units that we're talking about here, they're smaller units, so they're not big, like I said, big industrial units that are overkill.
So that means you can move them someplace.
Yeah.
You're not only at the location that you have right now, but you could actually move 2 or 3 of them if you got the last one, which is the last one will mesh it into something that we could use. It's going to take I think it's gonna take a good $1 million to get to the point we want it, probably, around. And if we don't put in the budget in one single year, but we may be able to do that for years. We may be able to buy them, ship them down to sites, see if they're saleable, and how that works. And if it isn't, then go to the next level, which is buy the last piece of equipment that will grant it to the point that we can use it. That's the way I see it anyway. I don't know what the rest of the board.
Yeah, so to begin with, I think if for some reason all the changes that we've implemented, maybe we don't see the results that we need, then I think we could probably visit and start with a shredder. Because I mean, we can haul those shreds out to the local landfill at half the cost.
Yeah.
And then if, we can move forward with possible selling of the rubber, and that's possible revenue. You can get about 30,000 or so annually from revenue from that, give or take.
Maybe you'll pay a third of the salary.
Then it'll, yeah, offset by salaries.
Lynn?
Okay, my question is, do those chippers chip down the metal that's in those tires as well?
So yeah, it extract that secondary one does extract some metals to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's because I know all those tires have metal in them now. Okay.
Belting and
That's
everything.
what- Yeah.
Another thing I forgot to mention is that these units here, and even some of the bigger units, they only process passenger tires. I mean, they'll process semi and OTR tires, but you have to add another piece of equipment to cut those tires down to size because they're so big, you know. But these are mainly for passenger tires.
Well,
I wish we have quite a bit.
which we have a lot of.
Yeah.
Quite a bit passenger tire. I like it. What do you need from us?
I think we're going in the right direction.
Yeah. With additional funds, we're getting the state to clear that site over, which is like a fresh start, and then we'll monitor, you know, how we're proceeding. And then in the future, if we need to move
Stay on
forward,
top of
we
it.
have some ideas.
Thank you for taking into consideration our needs.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No,
Thank you, Kelly. Santos?
thank you.
Moving on to planning and zoning agenda, we'll move on to expedited rezoning and public hearings. These items will be open as a group for public hearing and acted upon by one motion to adopt the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission, except for any item that is removed by the board, by a board member for separate consideration. That item will be discussed and acted upon separately following action on expedited items.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any particular interest in opening up the items. I just wanted to make sure that they can be approved as both items at the same time or one individually? Individually? Because it says chairman entertain motion on one. And then it says as a group. So what is it? One or as a group?
As a group.
As a group? Okay, so.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and.
The motion will be to approve special use permit case number 2409 and 2511. After the public hearing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me open them up. Item number one, special use permit case number 25-09. And item number two, rezoning case number 25-11. Any questions do we have? No? So I'll open up the public hearing. See if any public comments, anybody from the public. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the board.
I made a motion. We approve.
I'll second it.
Special use case permit 2509 and rezoning case number 2511.
There's a motion and a second to approve special use permit case number 25-09 and rezoning case number 25-11. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to rezoning. Staff will make a full presentation in each of the following items, followed by separate discussion, public hearing, and action by the Board of Supervisors. Item number one, special use permit case number 25-07.
Good morning, Richard Munguia, Senior Planner.
Good morning, Richard.
This special use permit case is a request to allow a community facility for social events. It's located in the Yuma Mesa planning area at 16676 South Avenue B. The property is identified here, highlighted by the crosshatch. Property to the north is SR2 and it's undeveloped. Property to the northwest and west are also SR2, but they're developed with residences. Property to the south is rural area 10-acre minimum, and it's in agriculture. Property to the east is also RA10, but it's undeveloped. The two properties highlighted in red here identify opposition. This opposition amounts to 25% by number and 21% by area. And this level of opposition will trigger a supermajority vote requirement in order to approve this request. Property is outlined right here in blue. Currently has one single-family dwelling, a park model, and a metal building on site. It's a bird's eye view of the property. This is a site plan and identifies the proposed location of the venue. It's identified here in red as open gathering area. The applicant shows the designated parking spaces on the east portion of the lot with the entrance at the south off of County 16 3/4. MCAS and Yuma County Airport Authority both provided comments. Additionally, there were 2 emails in opposition from the neighbors. Staff is recommending approval, subject to the conditions shown on the screen, except we would like to modify performance condition number 3, where it says dedicate 30 feet of right-of-way. We would like to change that to, modify that to 20 feet of right-of-way. And that concludes my presentation.
Any questions for?
And where's the opposition? Sorry, where's the opposition coming from?
It's coming from the 2 neighbors to the north.
Can you show me the picture again? I want to see where their houses, there's nothing on that one property.
Correct. Directly to the north, it's undeveloped. And then to that direction here,
Yeah,
there's a house.
The house is way on the other side. Now, are those 5 acre or 2 acres?
2 acres.
Thank you.
Roughly.
So the location of the event center would be
It would be
right
towards
in
the-
that area, right
around
there.
here towards the north
Mhm.
portion.
What would be the maximum capacity of the event center itself? Do they have that yet?
The event center, well, it's going to be an open air.
Oh, okay.
It's identified as 60 by 30, and really the limiting factor is going to be the parking on site.
That's going to be an issue, the parking on site.
If it gets any larger than this, because it's
That's
going-
probably what bothers the neighbors. I mean, the spill of parking in an open event. Special use permit, can it limit the parking to be on site?
It has to meet the development standards, correct?
So
So we can limit it that it has to be on site, can't be on the right of ways, can't be in somebody else's property, can't be in, we can do all that, right?
The parking will have to meet the development standards for the size of this, 60 by 30. All those spaces will be required to be on site. And then I would hope that any overflow stays on site.
Probably, the complaint probably deals more with noise and the type of activity that's going to take place in that open area. So the planning and zoning said yes.
Correct.
Staff is recommending yes.
And there's a solid fence, 7 feet high. And the applicant agreed to all the conditions.
The applicant has some concerns, and they are here.
Right, got it. Okay.
Any other questions for staff?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I have another question for, I'm sorry, I do. Can we limit the time of day that they can play music?
Yes.
Is it limited already? Did I not see it? Did I?
We have the hours of operation.
Dawn?
Until 1 a.m., but the live entertainment is allowed after, no live entertainment or amplified music is allowed after 10 p.m. on weekdays and after 11 p.m. on Friday, Saturday,
Got it.
Sunday, and holiday.
Okay, okay. Perfect.
I got a neighbor that, doesn't quit it till 1, so.
Your district, isn't it?
No live entertainment or amplified music, okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if we have complaints on any of these special use permits because they
don't comply with everything that we've asked to, or they are abusive to their neighbors, do we have the ability to pull that back, the special use permit?
You have the ability to fix them, bring them back in and,
We do.
Yes, you do have the ability to.
What's the process for that?
That is a really good question.
I know Maggie knows this because I just asked her.
But it may be on the heels of.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if they are not in compliance with any of the operational conditions, staff does have the ability to bring the item back to the board for revocation.
Okay.
So it's a matter of scheduling for a public hearing to revoke the special use permit.
All right.
But what happens after we revoke it? What process does it go from there?
Well, if it's revoked, then
They can't use it.
They don't have a valid special use permit. And if there are any further complaints, then those would be handled through the zoning violation process.
I don't know, I think that not doing anything is not really, it's not challenging, it's saying, no, it's nothing's gonna happen. I mean, it may be, I noticed the two letters, one of them says, bad for my children, and the other one said, I don't want the noise. Those are common terminology for people who complain. I mean, I don't want the noise, and I don't want the kind of stuff that my children cannot see. I can understand that, but with a 7-foot wall requirement, and you have to really look inside to actually see. If anybody is opposed, I want to hear.
Mr. Chairman, those who spoke in opposition are not here today. They are included in the minutes. I believe that the property directly to the north, although it is vacant, stated that he's in the process of establishing a residence on that property.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, thank you, Maggie. And I'll go ahead and.
Oh, is it?
And open up the public hearing. And I'll go ahead, the applicants.
Chairman, my name is Chris Dempsey, this is my wife Anna. Could you go back to the slide to the one that shows all 4 properties? There you go. Mr. Chairman, we've been there for almost 30 years, and the people around us have been there primarily 25 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
We bought the property in 1998, and we turned it into a family property. Now we're trying to, what can we do with our kids and our, all the grandkids and stuff. So what we decided to do was what we're talking about right now is the event venue. The property is irrigated. It runs off the irrigated there on the north side. You can see the canal that runs down through there. It's a closed canal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a couple things we'd like to address real quick is they'd mentioned about paved parking. If I went to paved parking, I'm completely out of the ball game. It's going 40 to 60 grand. So what we've done is we've re-leveled the property, and what you see here in the dirt on the east side, that's about an acre. So it'll support the vehicle parking. So to answer your question, Ms. Pancrazzi, when you pull in on the south side, go through the gate, and then it's actually, that whole property is actually fenced in right now.
Mhm.
So they would be inside the fence. There wouldn't be, you can only put so much there. To answer about the permit, since we're sitting off Avenue B, we're not in behind anybody. So Mr. Reyes, I couldn't hide it if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? If it got out of hand, they'd know right away.
We may be able to sell you some chips.
I was sitting there listening to that, and I was wondering, how can I get in that tire business? So what we'd like to do is we would like to grass it and park on the grass. We found some facilities around the county that use grass parking. Because of the irrigation, it'd make it very hard to change it with the irrigation running into it. Now, another big concern is right there on County 16 3/4. What's happened is when we bought the property, they'd already had a piece in the deed. Now, you'd have to excuse my verbiage or knowledge on this. I might need some help on this. In perpetuity, the property right behind us, yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
They had agreed to when what was his name that owned that?
Bob.
No.
Arvizo.
Arvizo. Mr. Arvizo owned that property for years. So they did it to where Mr. Ursher is behind us. his mother-in-law could move in, and they needed the easement. Now, excuse my terminology, easement right away, but even when we bought the property, we couldn't take it out. They wouldn't allow us to take it out. So that 16-3, yeah.
Right here in this picture, you see this trailer, that was put in there for his mom, who's already passed away. But we had to give that right away for them to put that in.
So there's a 20-foot right-of-way, excuse the terminology, right-of-way easement that's already running through there, and 16 3/4 is already used by our neighbors in the back. Now, we had thought about maybe closing that road down over time, but it didn't benefit the community, and it didn't benefit our neighbors who are in the back. Because if you expand the picture, Avenue is it Avenue A? Avenue A is really where 16 3/4 comes off of. So it didn't benefit our neighbors who were caught between the two, so we've never closed it down. Then the other thing you run into, Mr. Chairman, is if I start giving up property, it runs into that building, the building you see down there in the corner. It starts running up against that building. And I don't mean no disrespect to anybody, but this is it's a 10-year permit. 5 years from now, I could be looking at a different board, and the next thing you know, I got an issue with my building because it's up against whatever I deeded to the county. So I guess we got to have a good faith effort here when we say it's already open. It's in 50 years, it's never been closed down, and it doesn't congest any of the traffic coming off of Avenue B. Now, we've already sold, I think, 15 or 20 feet of the front to the county for whatever they're going to do to expand that road. And we were one of the first ones to sell because it helps the community. It helps she retired from corrections. I worked there for a few years, so we know the hazards going up and down Avenue B. So we're trying to be community minded here. And we wanted to do the permit, the special use permit the right way. So I think we've got our parking solved, and I apologize for rambling on. A little nervous. You know, I retired from the military, and if you're standing in front of a crowd with suits on this early in the morning, the only thing I can say is what had happened, Mr. Chairman, was. So I apologize for the nerves. It's early on a Monday morning. Someone should be in trouble. So I think we got the parking solved. We got the ground leveled. And as far as that easement is there, I would rather not give property to the county, not because I don't want to, but because I can foresee a problem with that building down the road if the county ever does come in and decide they want to develop 16 3/4. So I'm trying to save us all a lot of problems down the road. But even if the county wanted to develop it, Mr. Chairman, they come in and say, hey.
They're going to take it anyway.
They're going to take it.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a good way, not in a bad way, but then, like I say, if we deed it over, it really encroaches on that building. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to say we're going to use the front half where it's dirt, it's grass now for parking, and there's already the right of way there.
If I may say something, the reason we decided to do something like this with this property is because during like he said, we bought this property back in 2007.
Oh, we bought it in 98, but they changed the price in 2006. Right. I learned about realtors.
So for one reason or another, life has changed, and he retired, I retired, our kids grew up, and we were never able to build a house like a real home. So now, every 2 weeks, I come down from Phoenix and I cut the grass, literally, and we keep it really clean. There's palm trees with dates. It really is a really pretty backyard. And as you see, the really tiny house is 745 square feet, where I lived there for 10 years. And like I said, now we're not doing anything with it. So I thought, why not do something with it and allow people to use it, have a nice event. As you notice on the draft drawing, I'm not putting any buildings. I'm nothing major structures. I wanted it to be an open event. Bring your tables and chairs, put a couple of tents, have your little get together, and go home. I'm not, as you see, as we were reviewing other permits, people have pools, they have sheds, they have other stuff. Well, that's not my idea. Just like he says, in a couple of years, we don't know if that's going to pick off or not. And if it does, then we'll be in front of you asking for permission.
The restrooms are going to be on trailers, like how you go to an event, we thought that,
Runs.
yes, sir, because of the way the ground is, and we don't have to mess with septic, and we talked, I think it's Mayberry's, we talked to them about emptying the waste at the end of an event, then you put the trailer away, and of course, we run up into the seasonal stuff, so we really think it's only going to impact during the winter months, maybe October to May 1st, so ain't nobody doing anything outside in July.
Now, the neighbor that put in the complaint north of us, we know that the wife passed away, the husband lives with their daughters. So now it's the daughter and the son that live there, the husband, right? We don't even know if they own the property yet. But there's nothing really going on. If they say that they're gonna build a house soon, the last thing that we heard from them is that there was too much noise coming from the street, and that's why they were not going to develop. They did build the dirt up to put the house, avoid the irrigation problems. But now they live in the foothills. So. And I just saw the house. It's pretty way out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that's going to be a covered patio. So, right?
No.
It's a complete open area.
Just an open slab.
Just an open. I think I have some pictures of the property right now. It's literally just grass, level, and palm trees. That's it.
It'll be a nice venue for a wedding or a quinceañera or a.
The idea is tables and chairs and tents that they meet the standards where you don't have to have a permit to put up a tent.
Like
you would in
Ready
Richmond.
Rents does.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah, okay.
It'd be a smaller version.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicants? All right, thank you, Chris. Thank you. Anybody else from the public, or I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the board?
I'd like to make a couple of points of clarification here. It's my understanding that it is not actually right-of-way, it's a private access easement. So the property is not actually deeded over to the county for
That part isn't.
up here, yeah. And it's staff's recommendation that we have the applicant meet the Yuma County zoning ordinance section 902 for the parking requirements, which means anything over 25 spaces would require to be paved.
If you require them to pave them,
That's a little bit too much to, yeah.
The fairground uses what, how many hundreds of spaces?
Yeah.
And there's others.
They use grass all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the conditions, please?
You okay with the fence? Are you okay with the fence? Because it requires a 7-foot fence, masonry fence.
Well, we figured we would get through first deeding the property and the parking lot. The fence, as you saw, the small area. I was going to ask if I can just fix that fence that area where that's where the gathering is going to be. We have looked into different types of fence. If we had to fence the whole thing, it will be a challenge, but it's something that we could possibly do. But if I was granted to only fence just that area, that would be easier. Now, I heard them say that they're requesting 20 feet for the access. This morning, I spoke with their engineer.
You want to come up to the?
Yeah, you need to come up here.
It says north, east, south, and west. So that to me means that they want you to pave it all, not pave it all, but they want you to build a fence that covers the whole area.
The whole area, which is not necessary. But I said, from the time that I started this permit, the biggest concern was the right-of-way and the pavement.
I think I can deal with the pavement not being there for the parking spaces, but the fence is going to be an expense, especially because it's a 7-foot fence. We used to allow 6-foot fence, and I don't know what, I think it changed, the regulation changed, so now they request a 7-foot fence. I don't know if the footings are any bigger than they should be or whatever. It's just an expensive proposition.
Which one? It's just property. Yeah, this one, right. Now, Mr. Reyes, the front part is basically the way that property is, you got an acre running across the front. Then on the back half, where you see the grassy area and the tree, those are both half acres. So what she's suggesting is not to fence the entire property, but to fence the area where the actual event's gonna be. So basically, instead of having to fence in 2.5 acres, I'm fencing in half acre, where the actual event's gonna be. So the idea is for the vehicles pull in, park, and then they walk into the event.
Okay.
Like through a gate.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask the people that are actually doing this, did you guys, I mean, I know that you, parking requirements is up to 25 spaces, you do paving. And then the fence, what about the fence? Is it all around the building, or, all around the parcel, or is it just portion?
The fence was proposed to be around the whole parcel to help with sound attenuation as well.
Yeah, I want you to be aware of that.
Now, the property's already fenced, it just doesn't have a solid fence. It has a,
Chain link.
operation, the poles,
Oh, yeah.
so those,
Yeah, well, we need to define that before we go on. That's gonna be a costly thing. A 7-foot fence all around the property, which is acres of property, is gonna be an expensive proposition. You just wanna use it for like small events, the kind that bring in a couple of tents and put in chairs and tables. That may be a big investment for you guys to do. You won't
well,
get-
we already have the tables, the chairs and stuff.
Oh, no,
This has
I'm
been
sorry.
going on for about 10 years, Mr. Reeves, we've been planning it, but now we're down, this is where we're at.
Well, the paving, again, I don't think it's going to be a major problem for me to deal with. The fence is going to be defined a little better. Because if you get into a situation where you get a permit, and the permit requires that you fence the whole property with 7-foot masonry fence, that's going to be major. Oh, I don't think
Staff would be okay with the fence being along the north and the west.
good. North and west is good.
On the north side, that's where the water runs down. And we thought, as we are looking to this, we would have to raise the fence, so every time we irrigate, it doesn't,
Get into the footings. Well, if you put it in the other side of the canal, I don't see, because of the delineation, I don't know where there's this side of the canal, that side of the canal. But I understand what you're saying. The canal should work as a natural barrier. But I think the side obstructing fence is to obstruct sight and to obstruct noise. So in lieu of that, that's going to be difficult. You're going to have to build some sort of a barrier between you and the neighbor that complains that you can't see it. That's probably why the staff is requiring that you do north and what?
West.
North and
North and west, sound barrier.
Sound barrier
Sound
from
barrier
the
is a sound
neighbors,
barrier.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think that's what it is, but if you do it north, east, west, and south, that's the whole property. That's a lot of fence.
It
If
is.
you just build the north, and maybe you can do something with that, just to appease the neighborhood.
The north and west is a sound barrier. Mhm.
And that's why we were suggested to fence the area where the actually venue is.
Well, you can fence it, fence it with regular chain link fence, but the side obstructing one is probably difficult with chain link fence. Unless you do chain link fence with slots in it. We used to be able to do that.
I think that on their list it says solid, so.
Yeah,
It's a solid fence.
more like a sound barrier.
You want to make sure that you know what you're dealing with, okay? Because sometimes we make a decision and then we end up with this big cost.
So it would be a solid fence or masonry wall 7 feet in height shall be built along the north and west perimeter of the subject property. Right? Okay.
Okay.
Question I had too, we were talking about, I'm not so worried, like you said, the parking. What ADA requirements are there? How many handicap parkings are they gonna required to have?
Yeah, the parking is typically, we can only have so many cars per people based on square footage. So then we'll follow the county's guidelines for how many handicap spaces we have to put in and how many actual.
And the reason I bring that up too, with handicap, you're required, I think, to pave those spots. If they're dedicated handicap parking, I think they have to be paved. Just so you're aware of it, 'cause like I said, I don't have a problem with leaving it as
rest
grass
of
or
it,
dirt,
yes.
but those, just so you're aware, I think are required to be paved to meet that ADA requirement.
I was wondering why the fairgrounds have that one section of just paved and the rest of it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ADA requirement, I believe.
That's correct.
Huh?
They weren't before.
I know, they are now.
But you know what, Mr. Simmons, that's something that's doable.
I just want to make sure you were aware of
appreciate
that. If we're not going to require the paving, those you will have to.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Chris and Anna. Any other? I have a question for staff. When did we started asking for paving for events like this? Because believe me, there are plenty of sites that have events, and I've been to several, and none of them are
Paved.
paved. None of them have, or some of them have wall masonry, some don't. So, and there's some that are in plain sight. You can see them from a major collector street. So either are they illegal, not compliance, or when did we start asking for all this?
As far as when, I couldn't tell you. I can tell you that anything over 25 spaces does require paving based on the zoning code. When? And then I'll get that.
Basically, when did the zoning go? Start repairing.
Mr. Chairman, while there may be event centers out there, they may not be in compliance with the zoning ordinance. They may not have obtained a special use permit. And we do have some zoning violation cases currently in process for those types of unpermitted uses.
In other words, the zoning matters were always there,
Well-
just people didn't apply for building permits, for special use permit.
It just kind of, we have applicants that want to do it right, and they go through all the process, and
people
we're
are just
asking them
amused.
all this, and then there's events that have been out there for, boy.
Yeah,
I-
Mr.
I
Chairman,
wanna say
unless-
at least 10 years or more, and none of that is that they have. It's just kind of, and I know we are driven by
Complaints only.
complaints, but honestly, how many, if I was to pull the records on the sheriffs to see how many calls have noise complaints they have had in that area, I guarantee you there's a lot. So if we don't have that communication or that about how many complaints we have of noise and that are coming from places that are not in compliance, I think that's where, on our behalf, we're lacking that. We're lacking of not, letting those events continue to operate or letting them continue to pop up without the proper permitting. So, I know people are trying to make, living, but, and make use of their properties when they're big, but, to me, it's just kind of, when I see someone coming in, trying to do everything right, and then we're asking for all this, and I guarantee you they know where.
The staff is asking for all this.
But
we'll find the middle ground, and I'll remind you that if you're winning, you should quit.
Mr. Chairman? Even if you waive condition number item 2B, the applicant will still have to meet it, and if they don't meet the parking requirements, they will have to obtain a variance from the Yuma County Board of Adjustment.
Yeah, well, that would be if you did something that was not able, you were not able to meet with some sort of requirement that would necessitate that you have a variance, which is a tough thing to get unless you can prove need.
I mean, it's a acre, and the property looks big enough that they.
Actually 2.8.
That they can, a lot of vehicles can be parked in that area, inside their own property. So
They have to provide on-site parking, and based on the size of the venue, it triggers improvement of the parking area to Yuma County standards, which are pavement.
I don't know, but I understand where you're coming from, but I don't know what you're helping out. That's
If
all.
I may say something,
Anna, you wanna come over here?
and I know this is just now rumbling and talking, but in February, I attended a wedding on a venue like this on, I would say it was 5E in County 17. And when I saw the place, I felt like I was wasting my piece of land because there was no solid fencing, there was no parking. We parked on the whole and on the alley, which was just nothing but sand. Okay, and they had a whole floor to dance with roof and bathrooms and all that. And I thought, no. And like you said, these are things that are happening. Maybe they have a permit, maybe they not. But I figure, why not do it the right way? Now, as far as parking issues, space, I'm willing to reduce the area to comply with the parking. I'm not trying to have a civic center. Like I said, I do keep it nice and clean. We keep up with the lawn, and I just thought, like I said, I'm not trying to bring 100 or 200 people, whatever the square footage and parking I would have to be at to comply. I will be fine with that. Also, I do have an area where we could easily pay for handicap, make it safe for the person to walk to the venue. We can do that. But like you said, here we are trying to do it the right way with permits and all that. Back in 2021, we had one family event. It was my nephew that was getting out of the Marines and was getting married. First event ever since we have this property there. And we had, somebody called the police. And at that time, what do you say is my nephew getting married? I wasn't having a public event. It's a family gathering. And because of that, we decided to do this the right way. If you needed the space for your event, I wouldn't want nobody bothering you because you have the music or people. I want to do it, the right way. So I hope that we can work something out and you hear our concerns. Like I said, we purchased this property back we moved in 98. It's been in the family. We always told our family that if you ever lose your home, you have a place to go because we're almost about to pay it off. And even though we were not able to build a home to move in there, it's still, it's something that we wanted to stay in the family. And bringing up these concerns for the special permit, like giving up the land and paving and all that, well, like I said, this is something that started as an idea because I went to that wedding and I thought, what, I have a beautiful place, why not? I don't want this to come back and later on have, bigger repercussions that affects us financially. I don't want to get into where you guys approve it and then I cannot meet the requirements. So right now, fencing the event area, and like I said, we leveled the land so that we can do the parking on the grass and providing a paved or cement area for the handicap. That's something that we can do.
Like I said, I brought that up just so you're aware, if we say no you don't have to have it paved, there is a section we'll have to, just we don't have a choice.
And I'm going to take some fault here. I jumped into this, I got excited, and when I turned around, I told them, hey, I'm going to do this. And now I feel like I'm in hot water. So like, how do I get out of it? Either I get in or get out,
Yeah, you're fine.
I just rather be honest right from the get-go. If it's doable, we're excited about it. If not,
Mr. Chairman, financially, numbers-wise, we estimated that it'll produce somewhere between maybe 60 to 70,000 a year in grocery receipts. So it is a true small family-run business. It's not a $1 million a year enterprise. So, and then it puts the property to better use than what it is right now. So,
thank
you know why the neighbor on this side didn't complain? Because she asked me for a job. She said, if you do this, can I be the bartender? I think she works for the Somerton Golf Course, and so she's a bartender there. And I said, absolutely, Margaret, you're more than welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff?
Want a motion? I'll make a motion to approve special use permit case number 2507 with the two distinct separate requirements on parking, which we have discussed, and on the wall, which are we on the north and
west.
What about that
Only in the north
setback?
and west. What?
The
We're gonna eliminate that.
Well, I don't
right
think
away, the 16.
Oh, you're talking about the county side?
Yeah.
I don't know what the county is doing, but
I mean, is the county ever gonna pave that road? And when?
County 16th and half.
Arturo Alvarez Engineering Department, probably not.
Okay,
But normally,
that's all I needed to hear. Thank you, honestly.
Probably not.
Okay, thank you.
By the people.
Should start with
Yeah.
the reasons why you may not want to say that.
All right. I mean,
I don't
why
mind.
get it?
I don't mind.
Why give that?
I think because we requested from everybody, but it's gonna look a little odd, but I mean, it's fine.
It's not gonna be paid. That's the thing.
I have a question to clarify. You are going to remove the requirement for the right-of-way?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just so you know, this property here owns to the middle of this path, and this too as well, so this will prevent the public from accessing this over here. Although there is a 15-foot easement, it's a private access easement, and I think it's for the benefit of
Why
this
is
one
there?
here.
Why is it gonna
It was for the trailer, right?
Yes, correct.
I don't know why we should.
All the
remove it.
traffic will come in from Avenue B. You would not want to take the road to come to the event. It's horrible. It's never been fixed. So there is no
No.
way that somebody coming to an event will come in through the back.
I don't think we were looking at that.
Yeah, it's going to be beyond just the traffic to this event. This is just public access completely.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
So, I mean, it's being used right now.
Correct.
That is being used as public access.
Correct.
So, but what's the purpose of getting or an access there from the county if it's already being used?
Mr. Chairman, there is a private access easement along County 16 and 3/4 Street. Staff is asking for 20 feet of dedicated right-of-way instead of a private easement.
I don't think it's gonna impact that much unless you get it, if you get the property line too close to that building.
Why?
Which in a commercial.
Mr. Chairman, but why ask for it? Seriously.
To make
I mean,
sure that
just for fun.
Arturo Alvarez Engineering Department. Normally, when we see a case, a parcel, and then we look around and see, okay, there's 16 right-of-way on the west side. There's an existing right-of-way along that alignment on the west side that I believe there's 30 feet. So what we try to do is to open that up to the public. If there was, let's say, for instance, if there was no right-of-way on the west side of the property, then we wouldn't ask for a right-of-way because it's unlikely that the road will be ever paved. But due to the fact that it's public right-of-way, and we like to have that open to the public. I believe right now on the south side of the property, it's a private easement between that parcel and the parcel to the west.
In other words, instead of having a private easement, you just want it to be public.
I mean, so.
We're not gonna pave it or anything.
And this is, I hear it all the time, and so if it's private.
Is it posted private?
Then can they close, can they say, okay, well, you know what, I'm gonna close County 16 and 3/4, can I close it?
Well, that's one of the reasons we like to have it public.
Can they close it? Legally, can they close it? Because it's been, that road's been accessed
I've
for
driven down
more
there.
than 30 years, I
Yeah.
believe.
I guess it would,
Chairman, you couldn't close it if you wanted to, because you'd have such an
Yeah.
uproar in the community.
But
I could say if, it depends how it's worded as far as the easement to whom could access that easement. If it states that it's only for property to the west, then I'm assuming it's only to the west property. But to avoid situation like that, we do ask for right-of-way to the public.
Legally.
Mr. Chairman, just say, I love government.
All right, thank you anyways, but yeah.
We're not asking for you to pay.
It's just, it's never in my 25 years that I've been in county and government, that I've seen once, someone tried to close a road and they couldn't do it because, who said it? The county said they could not do it. And there was their road because there was being access by some neighbor in the back that had been using it for over 20 years.
Yeah, and then they won't let you.
So and so I'm sorry, it just, when I hear this, it just gets me, it's like, well, you know, as we make it up as we go, or, but anyways, thank you for the information.
So the motion was, so the motion was to go ahead and approve the 7-foot wall on the west and the northwest, in the north.
Correct.
And to allow the parking area not to be paved. Only the sections that require paving, like the handicap section. Now, I didn't even get to the right of way, because I thought the right of way was sort of like a public right of way. It wasn't to be paved, so I didn't think paving was an issue. I thought it was a public access issue. And they're complaining about having to give in a private easement was now a public easement. That was it. It was just not, it wasn't complicated to me, but. So do you guys have a problem with that? Do you guys have a problem with that?
What we did want to do.
You don't want to do it.
If you want to ask him a question, can you ask him to
come up and I'll ask you the question in the podium.
What we didn't want to do is we didn't want to deed the property.
Oh, you won't deed it. You just give it right away. It's a right away.
Right.
Giving it to the county.
It was a right of way when we got there almost 30 years ago. So they were using it 20 years before that.
It just becomes formally a right of way. Okay? It doesn't take from your property anything else that you haven't given up yet, right?
It would run into that building that that's been there.
Okay. Why do you guys want to take that's what I ask. Is the building that's there going to be impacted by the right of way? Is it going to be impacted by the right of way?
No, the building shouldn't be impacted by the right of way.
Okay, well, let's make sure.
Yes, originally we had it at 30 feet, the request, and that would most likely hit somewhere in the middle of this building. And so in order to accommodate that, we changed it to 20 feet so that
it wouldn't do that. Oh, good.
You'd be at the end of the property line or so.
Just want to make sure it doesn't impact anything you're doing.
Well,
I don't want to mess you with the building. I don't want to write,
And see, now this is so confusing because on paper it says.
Ma'am,
No, you want to come up to the.
There's a speaker there so the people at home.
Okay, on paper it says 25, he's saying 20, earlier he told me 15. So what is it? And this is one of the reasons that I didn't want to do it. He said, well, we'll just bring it to the end of the building. I said, well, if someday you decide that you want it because I deeded it to you, now the building is going to be right on the property line.
How big is the
Who's going to
right
own
of way?
that property?
The county.
Is the county?
It would be deeded to the county, correct?
You see, it would be deeded to the county.
Okay, let's make it 15 and cut this off because this will take forever.
agree.
15 foot right away, as long as it doesn't impact your property, it would be fine. It's nothing to be built
It's
on.
going to put it right at the building line.
I thought you
So
said
that
15.
means I'm going to have to give all the way to the top. Okay, well, there's already a power line and all kinds of wires that is going
So there's a
from
right of
the
way
street. There's a transformer already in my property. So now we could, so the 15 feet is gonna come right to the building right here. And there's already all kinds of wire going into my property right here. There's a transformer and we have, it's been there forever. So there's already, turning this into a bigger mess than is necessary.
10 foot?
Huh?
10 foot? I mean, the people.
It's already there. It's already
Private, or an easement.
It is not deeded to the county.
I provided copies. They have the copies.
Okay, well, deed it to the county, 10 feet, okay? That's it.
10 or 15.
10. If you're gonna be up against the building, I don't.
We have a document here that identifies that it's 20 feet to the building.
That was okay. So what is it, guys? Because I mean, I keep getting all this confusing information about whether it's be up against. I don't want her to be impacted. I don't want her building to be impacted. I want her power to be impacted. So you guys either going to get a small right of way to allow people to get to whatever their property is. Because I can see that cut off, or you're not going to get anything. So think about it quickly, because this is getting too long.
It's been requested to be 15 from engineering.
This is not a subasta. This is not an auction of my property.
Well, then it'd be a requirement. That's a problem right there. It's a requirement. It's a 20-foot requirement that becomes 15 or becomes 10, depending on what we decide today. That's why I said, or it becomes nothing.
Pero para qué? For what? That's my, they haven't answered that
It's
question.
for the
me,
access to the
what?
public.
But it's
according-
being
okay.
used right now.
It's a private, but it's a private one
Honestly,
now.
You're ahead. Thank you. Honestly,
Yes,
is it being used right now?
it is being used, correct.
By everybody.
By everybody?
I'm assuming so, yes.
Okay. That's all.
Right.
I'll
So
go
if
ahead
it's
and make
being
a
used by
motion to
anybody, then
approve
that's no problem.
This
Because
case,
it will be a 10-foot.
special use permit case number 2507, without the parking, only the two.
ADA compliant.
ADA compliance for handicap, the wall on the north and the east and the west,
West side.
and without the.
Are you making a
15
motion or?
Yeah, 15 feet right away, or what easement you want it, without.
Without it or with it?
Without.
Okay. I think it has to be with it.
I trying to be accommodating to everybody, but I guess it won't work. So he made the motion, so somebody second it.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a
Without
second.
it right away.
Without the parking paving and only the wall on the north and west, and without the easement.
Mr. Chairman, do you want her to read it back?
Remember,
Just to
this
make
is
sure.
This is a, what do you call it? 20% of the, this is a super majority vote. You gotta be full vote.
It's your area there.
That's what I'm saying. I thought I was making a motion, but it turned out that it wasn't.
But you're.
You're taking too long, Tony.
I thought I was making a motion, but it didn't
You're
turn out.
taking too long.
Would you like to second it, Tony?
No, you seconded it already.
Well, you know.
Okay,
There's a motion and a second.
we'll get through it.
All those in favor say aye.
Oh, you gotta take the
Yeah.
individual.
Roll call vote.
Or roll call.
Supervisor Lyons?
Aye.
Supervisor Pancazi?
Nay, I want that 15-foot.
Told you, you're just gonna run into that problem. Jesus Christ.
Supervisor Simmons?
Aye.
Supervisor Reyes?
Really?
Roll call.
Look, if we vote this down, is there a chance to make another motion? Because normally when you say no, you have to go back and go through the process and come back. Now, I want to make sure that we get this right once, that this time. So is there a chance to vote no and it's still going to be a chance to make another motion?
There
you
is.
go.
Linda?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we,
There's always.
will you stop me from making the motion that we're going to make? Okay, all right. And it's not.
Yes.
32. So can I make the motion already?
I'm not in charge. He's the chairman.
Okay, the motion will be
Sorry, it
3-2.
It passed.
No. Does it require a supermajority?
Needed a supermajority and
So
we
you
didn't
get
have
four
it.
votes to pass.
I just want to make sure that you understand, the
I
board
understand.
understands what's the purpose of the easement.
I
If
want it
it's- if it-
future.
It's
if
never
it-
gonna be
it's-
used.
It's never
Who
gonna be
knows if
paid.
it's
will
gonna
never be
be
It's
used?
never-
Who
It's
knows?
always it's being used right now.
It
That's-
is, but not
Okay, can
legally.
we get over
This
this
way it would
discussion
be
internally and
legally
vote on
used.
something that I think can make it? Because I
Got
think it's just semantics. So the motion is the same as it was before. The only difference is there will be a 10-foot right away.
Good, 10 foot's fine with me.
So it doesn't affect the building, it doesn't affect the right of way, it doesn't affect the power lines. That's it, okay?
And it allows for
It
people to come
allows,
and go
it allows the
legally.
county to later on say, okay, this is open to the public, okay? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's the same thing. The same thing, it only requires.
Mr. Chairman, did the motion get withdrawn or did the,
No, it died.
No, it didn't pass. It required 4 votes to pass.
there
making
was a
a new-
vote, a full vote?
Yeah.
Yes. And it died.
Mr.
Tony.
Chairman, I only have 2 votes for the first motion. 2 ayes and 1 nay. Who voted?
Darren was an aye and Tony was
Was
a
an aye.
nay.
It was an aye.
Jonathan was an
I was a
aye,
no,
and Martine was
and-
an aye.
Martine
3
was an
ayes
aye.
and 2 nays.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So this motion will be the same as that motion. The only difference is there'll be a 10-foot right away set aside.
I'll
That's it.
compromise.
It's not a big deal. It won't impact the building, it won't impact the power poles. But just make sure that in the future, there's no argument about it being a public right of way. It's all there.
So I do have a question, if I may. And then I'll let it go.
Discussion, yeah.
So already, right from the property line, we already deeded 10 feet. Are those the same 10 feet that
Same
will be
10
now in your name
10
on the
feet.
county's?
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll be the same 10 feet.
It'll be 10 feet from the blue line that way.
Yeah, it's the same 10 feet that they already deeded over in a private easement. It will now become a public.
Now the public, yeah.
And you seconded, Mr. Chairman?
I
Good motion,
seconded.
second.
There's a motion and a second
Roll call vote.
to approve without the parking, the wall on the north and west, and only 10 feet easement. All those in favor, can you do roll call?
Supervisor Lyons,
Aye.
Supervisor Pancrazzi,
Aye.
Supervisor Simmons,
Aye.
Supervisor Reyes,
Aye.
Supervisor Purchase,
I'm gonna explain my vote first. This is the reason, you guys started asking 30 feet, and then it went down to 20 feet, and then we can even say no feet at all. So my question is, if we really needed it, the engineer that we have or staff would really stick to one number, and we would say, no, this is what actually we have. We're dealing here. That's why I say you ask for things, and I think you just ask to ask. Because if it was really made a purpose or we're gonna do something, you would stick to one number. So I don't wanna hear it, Maggie, sorry. I don't wanna hear it. So my vote is yes. But honestly, next time, come up with a number that is solid, and you're gonna stick to it. If not, I will not allow it on the agenda anymore. Because I'm tired of back and forth, and we don't have a straight answer. This is not the way it should be here. When it's here, we should just decide on certain things and make it easier for the applicant and for us to just move on the agenda and vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Going on to item number 2, special use permit number 25-08. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman Porches. Jesus Carrillo, presenting a special use permit 2508. This request is for section 604.03I of the Yuma County zoning ordinance to allow a dog kennel, including breeding and training activities, on a parcel 1.25 net acres in size, zone low density residential, 40,000 square foot minimum. The property is located in the Yuma Valley Plan Area, 5117 West Poppy Street. And the intent, as mentioned previously, is to allow a dog kennel, breeding, and training. This is the zoning map, property with the crosshatch parcel number 47. It's currently zone R140. And this is the aerial view of the site property, which is outlined in blue. There's another aerial view. The property currently has a site built, and not showing this imagery, but it has a barn dominium on the back.
As a what?
Barn, a metal barn building.
Oh.
A barn.
And staff received full letters in opposition. Planning and Zoning Commission recommend denial of special use permit 2508. However, if the board of supervisors approve this request, staff suggests attaching the following conditions. The special use permit shall be valid for a period not to exceed 5 years from the date of approval by the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. Number 2, the property owner shall post and maintain a visible sign at the main entrance displaying a current emergency contact name and phone number to respond to concerns such as noise, escaped animals, or other issues. The sign shall not exceed 20 square feet in area or 8 feet in height or width and should be clearly visible from the public right-of-way. No parking shall be allowed in the public right-of-way. All parking must be accommodated on site. Designated parking areas shall be surfaced with a dust inhibitor treated aggregate base course, ABC. 4, the kennel shall be limited to a total of 11 dogs on the property at any given time. Of these, no more than 8 may be used for breeding purposes. Puppies resulting from breeding may be kept on site temporarily, but not to exceed 4 months from birth. Boarding of animals not owned by the residents, property owners, or other immediate family is strictly prohibited. The keeping of Arctic wolf dogs, wolf hybrids, or other exotic wild animals is prohibited. All animals and food waste shall be handled and disposed of in any sanitary manner as approved by the Yuma County Health Department. Number 7, walls or fences enclosing animals areas shall not exceed 7 feet in height unless a variance is approved. All fences must be maintained in good repair. Number 8, dogs shall be kept indoors between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. except for brief outdoor breaks. Number 9, training activities shall be limited to the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays only. No more than 5 dogs participate in training in any one time. Whether individual or group sessions, training is not permitted Monday through Thursday or outside the approved hours. And that concludes staff presentation. Also, we received the full letters in opposition, 2 within the radius and 2 outside the radius. This does not trigger supermajority vote.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
And the applicant is not present.
Okay, can you go back to the requirement number 5? Can you explain that to me? Is that something in code, in state statute? Or how do we come up with that?
So this,
Very.
yeah, so this special use permit came out with, because someone complains on this property, and I believe there was a case on the sheriff's and animal control where 2 architects were escaped from the property and killed
Pets and
some sheep,
livestock.
some of the neighbors, and that's technically one of the letters in opposition that we received. They listed about they mentioned about the case.
Well, I inspected those dogs and they weren't Arctic dogs, so I've got pictures if you'd like to see them.
Yeah,
I'm just curious as to how we arrived there. All right, and then can we go?
and also the applicant listed on her narrative letter Arctic dogs. So that's what we came up with that wording.
She excluded them?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
she actually.
She excluded them. Okay, can you go to the next page? And how did we come up with the exclusion of training hours?
Well, we discussed that with the applicant, and she stated that those are the only hours that she trained them outside, the
Okay.
dogs that came out from.
Okay.
So we did discuss all the conditions with the applicant. She agreed to all of them.
Okay. Thank you.
Question. I looked at your rating, 285 out of 300, which is lower than the actual rating of the case prior for the special use permit. What led you guys to say no? Because you're recommending denial.
Mr. Chairman, staff is recommending approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission is recommending denial. Correct.
I thought the staff was recommending this. And that was a highly rated.
No, it's
I mean, I
staff.
can understand the Planning and Zoning Commission dealing with an animal kennel in the middle of a residential area, especially because dogs bark at night. There's a lot of noise. Those are generally unwanted in neighborhoods. But this one is kind of special.
This is a residential neighborhood.
Yeah, the people that were in opposition, they were at the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they address their concerns. So I believe that's one of the reasons why the commission moved forward to recommend denial.
What was the vote? I didn't get to see it. Yeah, I know I should have it. But what was the vote? I should look at it.
Yeah, I'll tell you. If you give me a minute, I can look for the voting.
Sorry.
While you're looking for that, can I read one comment from a letter of complaint?
Roll call.
Her dogs have tried to come through our doggy door to get to the other animals in our house, causing a dog fight in our dining room. A dog was not hurt enough to be taken to the vet. However, in the procession, I did get his ears. he did get his ear scratched. Yeah. So-and-so has chased her dogs out of our yard with a lawnmower because her dogs had taken a defensive stance against him. So, anyway, those are just some of the reasons why the neighbors don't want to.
Maggie, it was 5-2.
5-2?
Within
5-2.
Yeah. Mr. Simmons says it's 5-2, the vote. Sorry for now.
Any other questions for staff? So staff.
Can you go back to the beginning? Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Can you go back to the beginning of the requirements?
That was a short period of time for it, for me, 5 years.
Yeah. And the next page?
$11 dogs?
What would you consider an exotic animal? Like a tiger?
Tiger.
Or restricted?
Lion.
Or restricted?
Does it currently have fencing, or are you requiring them to install additional new fencing based upon the complaint?
Mr. Chairman, by Chairman Lyons, they currently have fencing, and that's fed 7 feet and higher.
How do the dogs get out? Do they know?
No idea. Jumped up the fence.
Some of those can jump 6-7 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I had huskies in the foothills jumping.
The door was open or something. But anyway, I mean, there's so many dogs outside.
I know,
Sometimes they leave the gate open. Wow.
Is that a supermajority vote, or is it regular?
No, not really. Is it your district? Alan?
I don't think so.
Is it Lynn's district or
Is
yours?
your district, Lynn? Is your district? Oh, I'm chairman.
Are we ready for a motion yet?
I gotta open it up. To the,
Okay, open it up.
The public, it's the public.
any more
Puppy mill.
questions for staff? I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Open up the public hearing. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, move it back, bring it back to the board.
I move that we
And-
deny this special use permit.
I'll second that motion. And may I remind the secretary that the way you take a roll call, or the way you take a vote is you ask first. and
This
then
is
you
not
vote.
doesn't need a majority.
The
I know.
chairman is
I
not.
know, I'm just reminding you. I mean, Desiree may not experience with it.
Martin.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to deny special use permit case number 25-08. All those in favor of denying the request, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to item number 3, rezoning case number 25-12.
Chairman, we'd like a full presentation of this one. We only received one letter in opposition. The applicant is present. They agreed to all the conditions listed. You want me to go over the conditions?
Everybody's happy?
Any questions for?
Except for one owner, which is this property owner, it's in opposition.
Is this gonna allow 5? Is this gonna allow the cut to be cut to 5? It's a 10-acre site, and it's gonna be cut by, it's a 2-acre thing.
The 2 acre.
Now, I may remind, I just wanna make sure that everybody understands what they're getting into, but I think it's either 4 or 5 where you
Five.
Five.
subdivision.
No subdivision, just five.
Chairman, so this triggers only when it's 6 or more lots.
Okay, 6. 6.
This is only 5 lots.
Perfect. I just want to make sure, because I don't remember exactly. It must be that I don't remember exactly. It must have moved, because I thought it was 4 or 5. It's now 6, so. And to me, that makes it easier for people to build in 10-acre sites into 2. Because otherwise, they would have to meet a lot of requirements.
I have a question. Can you explain to me the power line issue?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, it was brought out to the commission, and I believe that's part of the letter in opposition. We did send requests for comments to APS, and we never received anything back from them. So I guess they're not in a position. And that information that came up, no idea where that information was.
Where that
Yeah.
came from? Okay,
And I don't know if the applicant has any knowledge to that as well, but.
okay. I just wanted to make sure.
All right. Any other questions for staff? I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board.
Senior district.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve it.
Second motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve rezoning case number 25-12. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to legislative issues. Alejandro.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alejandro Figueroa, Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs for Yuma County. Since you already had a great presentation this morning by a much more eloquent presenter than myself, I'll be brief.
I don't know about the eloquence.
And I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. You weren't in the room that day but thank you for all the work and efforts that you put in this legislative session on behalf of Yuma County, because I know you worked very hard on behalf of Yuma County, this legislative session.
Appreciate it,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
Thank you. I'll be brief, and I'll start with the some of the success or items, the key items that we worked on this session. I'll start with HB 2033, the instant solar permitting bill. I want to thank you, Supervisor Pancras, Supervisor Lyons, for your help on this, which this bill poses a significant threat to local control over planning and development decisions. Yuma County joined other counties in opposing this measure, and our collective efforts helped secure its defeat. Next, HCR 2021, which would have eliminated municipal food taxes, was initially of great concern. Though through targeted lobbying, the resolution was amended to grandfather existing city taxes and establish a clear process for any future levies. As a result, the measure will appear on the November 2026 ballot in its amended form. SB 1212, which aimed to address biosolid management and related community nuisances. Yuma County engaged in extensive stakeholder discussion with Senator Tim Dunn and other partners. Although the bill did not pass, we maintain a strong working relationship with the sponsor, ensuring the issue remains on the legislative agenda for the next session.
Mr. Chairman.
Right.
Just briefly, I was approached while on vacation by 3 members of Yuma Fresh Vegetables who are still strongly opposed to the dumping of the biosolids here in Yuma County, and they say that it's affecting their crops.
I agree.
Yes.
Let
Mr. Chairman,
California take care of their own poop.
Supervisor Lyons, yes, we've reached out to the city of Yuma. Now the city of Yuma is on our side on this issue. They've reached out to the date growers as well, and they started conversations. So we're hopeful that we can have a stakeholder meeting with them included and Senator Tim Dunn during the fall.
And PFAS are getting in our water. Go ahead.
And then finally, HB 2928 would have mandated automatic approval of accessory dwelling unit applications under specific conditions. While we initially opposed the bill, collaboration with the Yuma County, with the County Supervisors Association and the bill sponsored yielded amendments that address our primary concerns. With those changes in place, Yuma County adopted a neutral position and the bill was signed into law. And again, as Supervisor Pancrasi acknowledged this morning, it was in great due to the CSA's and Jacob's support on that bill. On the state budget, some of the Yuma County priorities were included on it. So we are happy to report that $850,000 from the treasurer will go directly to the Yuma County for disposal of excess waste tires, and $1.3 million for the Somerton Bridge replacement project. which were two of our top priorities.
Mhm.
Additional notable investments include $750,000 for Amberley's Place, which is going to be administered by Yuma County. $1 million for the Yuma County Recorder's operational needs. $1.35 million for the University of Arizona Yuma YCETA. $8.5 million for fire alarm upgrades to the Yuma State Prison. $349,000 to fund the Congressional District 7 special election. $3 million to the City of Yuma for Ombita Community Services. $121,000 for Yuma PD and $18,000 for San Luis PD Pepper Bowl equipment. $9,000 to the City of San Luis for license plate readers. And finally, the corp employer contribution rate was increased slightly from 5% to 5.5%. These allocations represent meaningful progress on our infrastructure, public safety, and community health goals. So next session, looking ahead to 2026, we face a major election year with all legislative seats and statewide offices, governor, attorney general, and others on the ballot. This environment is likely to intensify partisan conflict as candidates seek to make statements to voters and place opponents in difficult voting scenarios, potentially fueling aggressive campaign tactics. At the same time, federal policy shifts will reshape Arizona's fiscal landscape. What has already been a challenging budget cycle could become markedly tougher next year, as anticipated federal funding cuts coincide with weaker state revenue projections. Counties will again find themselves on the defensive against state preemption efforts, ranging from permitting and revenue restrictions to broader operational mandates. On a more positive note, the legislature's continued focus on roads and infrastructure projects may open an opportunity to pursue US 95 repayment funding. Finally, Colorado River negotiations will command significant attention at the Capitol, given the legislature's power to approve or reject any agreement. Yuma County will be closely monitoring these discussions and may have to go up and participate in those discussions in person. That includes staff and board
CAP
supervisors.
is really pushing to get our water
I know.
big time.
What was that, Darren?
CAP is really pushing to get our water,
Oh, you're not kidding.
so we need to stay on top of that.
Yeah, that's definitely coming next session, for sure. And on the federal side, as you probably know, according to the Big Beautiful Bill Act has passed, and according to an analysis done by NACO, on the positive side for counties, legislation preserves the municipal bond exception, establishes a new $50 billion rural hospital grant program, and provides $13 billion for USDA conservation programs. It also creates a 25% revenue share model for renewable energy on federal lands and permanently extends both the new markets and low-income housing tax credits. However, the NACO analysis highlights several areas of concern. Beginning in fiscal year 2027, counties will see their SNAP administrative cost share increase from 50% to 75%.
Oh my God.
The bill also imposes new Medicaid work requirements and cost sharing that could strain county-run health systems. There's a risk.
Question.
Yes, sir.
What's rural hospital? Is it Umbida a rural hospital? Is
Yes.
Yuma a rural hospital?
Yuma is considered rural.
I just want to make sure because sometimes I find that the description of rural changes.
There's a risk that mandatory funding sequestration could trigger cuts to key social services block grants. And additional changes include a temporary increase in the SALT deduction cap, a permanent extension of opportunity zones, and an expanded child tax credit with citizenship requirements. We'll continue to review these provisions and assess their implications for Yuma County as the law takes effect. As a matter of fact, I'm joining a webinar today, a NACO webinar today, to understand how this impacts Yuma County even better.
Oh,
I will conclude my presentation to the board, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions?
Nothing on the border crossing? The Mexican side. Are they starting with?
This bill includes a 1% tax on remittances to overseas done by U.S. citizens and any other resident in the U.S. It doesn't discriminate against green card holders or any other type of migrant living in the U.S. This only applies to cash remittances. So if it's money sent from a U.S. bank, that tax will not apply. Now, the Mexican president, or Mexico's president, has implied that she will figure out a way to pay for that tax or reimburse those Mexican nationals that are paying the tax while sending money from the U.S. to Mexico. That will be my brief update on Mexico and border affairs.
Any other questions for Alejandro?
No.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Thought I saw somewhere though where the president was talking about H2A.
Yeah.
Trying to speed that up.
Yep.
And open it up, so that's good.
Yep.
What was that?
The H2A visas.
Oh, good.
Current events?
Oh, my goodness.
Lynn?
I didn't write any down, but I was in Apache County at their board meeting. I was in Yavapai County at their board meeting, and this next week I will be at the NACO convention in Philadelphia. And I'm sure there are many other things, but I didn't write them down. So.
Lots of different conversations around water and again around the biosolids coming into Yuma County. I also participated in the graduation ceremony of my son who received his wings from the Air Force.
Congratulations. That's nice.
And he will be coming back to Arizona flying the refuelers, the KC-135B.
Thanks.
Attended the YMPO, had a Welton Mohawk Irrigation Drainage District Board meeting, attended the town of Welton. It's a town council meeting, meeting with facilities, and then numerous other meetings with constituents.
Yes. I had meetings with Darren's constituents.
Who'd you meet? Oh.
Oh, he remembers.
Interaction with.
Hey, I share.
Thank you for sharing, Darren.
The only thing I have got, I mean, when I heard Supervisor Prentice said she was going to be at the Philadelphia meeting, and I know the chairman's going to be there, and I'm going to be there. Is there something agenda-wise that we need to deal with? I mean, the big bill is pretty, I mean, is there something like H2As that we need to deal with? Is there something that we should, as a group, present there, say, okay, we care about this? Because I'm a member of the Immigration Reform Bill.
Mr. Chairman, I'll have some stuff to share with you later, Tony, on supporting the reform of the H2A visas so that they designate more of them specifically for agriculture versus the cattle industry.
And the dairy.
That was a big issue.
It is a big issue.
And it's still a big issue now. So we need to also concentrate on getting some of these items up in the agenda.
Yes.
So please, when you get a chance before next, I think the chairman's leaving Thursday, I'm leaving Friday. See if you can get us some sort of an updated federal wish list. Well, not wish list, but a needs list. Something that we can all get behind.
That we can do, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, we can get you our federal priority summary in advance of the conference.
So we can all sort of have the same message.
I'm on agriculture, so I don't know if it's coming up there or not.
I think NACO already has something on the
Right. They do. But it's not necessarily geared towards the ag industry like we see it. Most people, when they discuss the ag industry, don't separate
dairies and
they don't
Dairy
separate
and
out
cattle and ag.
field from the dairy and or cattle industry. And those are the challenges.
Yeah. I'd like to extend the amount of time they can come to.
You know, and I know the issue is the military deployment to the border. We end up always being the spokesperson, both Jonathan and myself. One talking about the need to deploy more military, and me talking about the need not to deploy that more military. So we need to sort of like get together on the messaging, so we don't end up. The newspaper calls me, or
I wish I would have known that you were giving a contrary point.
Well, And that's my point, right? The point is, we never discussed it here as a board, but he ends up being a chairman, I end up being a member of the board, and we always end up having this counter. They do this, they know that the vice chairman is gonna support anything with the military, and they know that I'm gonna say it's overkill. So they do that often. You know, my point to this is that we should, not upset each other by actually talking about each other, not about each other, but each other's position. Somehow we should get a position at the board at some particular point about military deployment at the border, because it's going to happen here in Yuma, it's happening everywhere. And I think it's important enough for us to, as a group, discuss it. We get a chance. Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Supervisor Reyes, are you requesting that for a future agenda item?
Yeah, well, I'm requesting that be put in the agenda. sometime.
Maybe just an updates or
Well, that military deployment is important enough for Yuma County, so that it should be included in that federal update. Just a reminder. Okay, so you can talk about it and we can sort of discuss it in an open forum where it's an item we can talk about.
All right.
Right.
I attended, and Alejandro was there, the AMC. Had both governors there from Arizona and from Sonora. Good event, good start. Maybe we should plan it more during the week, as it was on a Friday, so a lot of people had to leave. And I will be attending NACO. And then, since I saw Craig this morning, and then he reminded about the conference we're gonna have here, how is that going then? Or how is that, can we get a report on what we're gonna do, or what?
I need some sponsorships, so I need you guys' help to get some local sponsorships so that our dinner and our haunted tour of the territorial prison and our scavenger hunt that we're trying to put together can be funded through Yuma County and not through CSA. They didn't give us very much money to.
I think it's always on the city that is, or the county that is hosting, so
Yeah.
we gotta be careful if we're giving too much or we wanna do too much.
I wanna cut.
Because it's gonna cost.
Well,
you
that's
gotta get
why I
ready.
need some sponsorships.
September, it
I've
comes up pretty
gotten
quickly.
Southwest Gas, and I'm working on APS right now. And I haven't hit anybody else yet, so. But I have to do it
But
before August.
Is the agenda already set, or what
Uh-huh.
do we have?
I don't have it by heart, Mr. Chairman, but I can send that in an update to the board later today.
Okay,
Yeah, the agenda's pretty much set. Mhm.
sounds good.
Right.
All right.
Oh, and our trips are,
Boss, anything?
our trips are to, Fresh Veg is going to do a tour for us. And MCAS is doing a tour for us. And we've got tea times at the country club for those who want to play golf
The
instead.
tours are on
The day
the
the day before it starts that evening, yeah. The morning of the evening that it starts, yeah.
Yeah, golf tournament.
Not a tournament, just a round of golf.
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of items. YSIPTA Board of Directors meeting. We had our executive management team training session with Franklin Covey, which was very good. Attended the YCBT meeting and had meetings with Supervisor Pancrazzi and Chairman Porches. Thank you.
All right.
And 90 phone calls with me. I mean, you got to mention that. That's the equivalent of a meeting.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned.